Bit of an echo. What do you think is going on? Do we have an AV person here? I just, yeah, I got. I think that.
Karaoke mode. Sometimes it has a zero karaoke mode and you gotta turn that off.
No, it's not on for this.
I just want to make sure that her microphone is.
Echo was off.
Yeah, oh, okay.
I just turned it back on.
Super. Thank you.
Let's carry on.
I just want to start with a few housekeeping items. I don't know if you saw it, but just outside these doors to the right there are the restrooms. And I wanted to remind folks here of the horseshoe that if you're going to speak, if you can turn your microphones on, please. Just you have to press and hold and then the light will come on. And also if you're speaking and have slides, if you could just say next slide and Mark will take care of that over there. Control. And for folks in the audience, I do want to let you know we're going to have a public comment at the end. But during the presentations, the folks will have an opportunity to ask questions if they have questions they'd like to ask, but the public could just wait till the end. So keep track of the things that you'd like to ask folks, and we'll have plenty of time for Q&A at the end. And we do hope to wrap this up by 4:30 so we can adjourn next door for some food and drinks. Hope you all will stay and join us and chat with folks here. We've got some great experts in the room with lots of great information. I'd love to talk with you more about the project. But with that, I will say welcome. Thank you everybody for coming. My name is Karen Cassell. I'm the Vice President of Waste Hub, Municipal Waste Hub. And normally it would be our president here doing the honors of presiding over this event tonight. But for those of you that haven't, our President Bob Butler had to unexpectedly resign in October when he was diagnosed with lymphoma. So he's undergoing treatment right now and spirits upbeat, but he'll join me in wishing him well, but obviously he's unable to do it. So I'm going to be honors tonight. Waste Hub will be electing a new president at its January board meeting, along with the regular annual slate of officer elections. So, but I'm very pleased to be here today. Waste Hub and our partners at Municipal Waste Solutions were very eager to share the news of all the great, tremendous progress that's happened this past year. So much has been going on. We have really wonderful news to share, super positive progress. You're going to hear how much work has happened at the plants and get an update on the status of that and all of the milestones that are expected to be reached in 2026, which we're very excited about. You're going to hear about how our finances have continued to improve and Waste Hub's financial condition is in excellent shape. We'll hear about initiatives we have for education and outreach, which is something that's near and dear to my heart. One of the things that we did in this past year was to rebrand to become Municipal Waste Hub. And we're very excited about that change. I'm pretty sure it's safe to say that nobody's going to be sad that we have retired the clunky, totally non-descriptive Municipal Review Committee name, MRC, and moved on to something that's much more easily identified and will help leverage the outreach that we're looking forward to be able to share what this plant means for our members and for this region, and to also have folks like our executive director, Mike Carroll, talk about all of the ways that we're looking to expand service to our members and to assist in waste management throughout the state, and to further provide services to our members. So we have a very full agenda today, so I'm not going to belabor my points here, but we could move to the next slide. We have some guest speakers here today, including Suzanne Miller, who's the director of the Bureau for the Maine Department of Environmental Protection. And we also have Bill Ferdinand, who will be joining us momentarily. Ferdinand Law, who is a lobbyist at works for both Waste Hub and Municipal Waste Solutions to serve to advocate for us, serve our needs in Augusta. And we have supporting business will be taken care of. Our treasurer, Bell Ryder, will be going over our finances and our proposed budget for 2026. And our consultant, George Aronson of Commonwealth Resource Management Corporation. I never get it right. Sorry.
You got it right.
Okay, for all these years. We'll be talking about the audit and other changes that have happened in the structures of Waste Hub. And our executive director, Mike Carroll, will be giving a year in review, which will be a feat because there's so much that's happened. He's managed to keep it down to, I think, 10 slides or less. And of course, we have Innovative Resource Recovery here to talk about what's happening at the plant. They're our partner together, Municipal Waste Hub and Innovative Resource Recovery, our partners in Municipal Waste Solutions, the facility in Hampton. And they are doing great things at that facility. And we have Edgar Palacios, who's the Chief Operating Officer. Did I get that right? Yes. Who's here filling in for Kevin Hogan, who's the CFO of Innovative Resource Recovery, who could not be here due to a family emergency. And we also have Jess Massey, who is our consultant with Design Lab, who assisted us in our rebranding effort. And we'll be talking about education and outreach in all ways that we'll need to reach out to our members and to the public at large to explain what the plan is going to do for our members and for waste management in the state of Maine, amongst some other things. And like I said, we have some opportunity for public comment and some other information for you. So that, I think we'll turn it over to Suzanne, who will talk to us about what's happening at DEP. Thank you, Suzanne.
You all ready? So I'm going to talk to you all a little bit about moving forward. Feedback. I hope to break out, talk about what's happened last year, and I just thought maybe both I would for you and see if will do that. And so first, I just want to thank for inviting me to this meeting this year. It's always pleasant to hear all that you've accomplished. It's really important. The state, and I hope that information I provide with next slide, please. So we have a subject on our waste characterization study. We've been working on this for quite some time. We got this for the Swiffer grant with the EPA back when Dawn was flying for about it. And we learned a lot about our waste streams on a statewide basis. And one of the things that we learned is that we have probably the most prevalent waste streams in the state are both packaged and unpackaged food waste. As for the second type of waste stream that's also prevalent, it's all different types of paper waste. So this includes stuff that's recyclable, but also stuff that's recyclable, coated papers, things like that. Textiles are a really fast growing waste stream. On the positive front, our stewardship programs really seem to be working. Things like electronics, our bottle bill. We're not seeing a lot of that in typical municipal waste stream. We are seeing quite a bit of industrial, commercial, institutional waste. We're also seeing a good amount of CDD. So that's an opportunity for new recycling type programs. So the waste characterization study, once it comes out, we'll have a lot more detail about this, but I just wanted to give you a quick preview. Next slide, please. So we also have two upcoming legislative reports that are due. The picture here is, of course, the last one that we submitted, which was a couple of years ago. We have on January 15th, the waste generation and disposal capacity report that's due starting in 2026 every year. You see a 2-year report. We didn't submit one in 25, but we are submitting one in 2026 that's going to contain both 2023 and 2024 data. So keep your eyes open for that. We also will have our annual product stewardship report. And in that report, we talk a lot about different types of waste streams that we either have product stewardship programs for, or where we've been asked to look into if that's something that they should consider moving forward. Next slide, please.
So going into the legislature discussion, it's a short session and theoretically that means it should end soon, but sometimes in practice it still can go on for into June or July, so we'll just see what happens. But what we do know is that there's already been an emphasis based on inquiries we've gotten from legislators and advocates and different stakeholder groups that batteries and embedded batteries and things like vapes are really important. And so that is something that will be discussed in the Environment and Natural Resources Committee. We are already working with our different stakeholders on that. We also believe there will be other solid waste bills. There's always solid waste bills. We've never had a year without them. But realistically, that the batteries are going to be the big focus. I think there's a couple other, I'm going to say nebulous bills out there because they're like carryover bills or placeholders based on, we don't know what those are going to be exactly, but likely it'll have to do with waste capacity, the state-owned Juniper Ridge landfill, and some issues surrounding that, and that's what we anticipate. So we'll have to wait and see what that looks like in January. Okay, next slide, please. So one of the biggest things I wanted to mention to this group is that we are going to be undertaking the updates of the Chapter 400 series. That's all of our solid waste rules. There's about 20, maybe less than that, probably about 15 or so different rules that fall under that series. They're all very dense, packed with information and requirements, everything from licensing processes to siting and engineering to different specific programs, all fall under that series of for the department. They haven't been updated in about 10 years, so it's time. And what we would ask of all the municipal waste hub communities is to think about what's working and what isn't and let us know. Please be active stakeholders. We are going to have stakeholder meetings here in 2026. We'll probably start thinking more about the actual language of those changes later into the year, possibly early into 2027. But we definitely want feedback because this is a big undertaking. And that's why I showed the rock climber there at the very top because it's a lot. So I just wanted to make sure everybody was aware that that's going to be happening this year. We also are continuing to work on finalizing our EPR for packaging program rules. And I believe we're also still working on our bottle bill, the revised bottle bill program rules as well. Next slide, please. So I want to talk a little bit more in depth about some of the programs that we're implementing that are new or that are going to be new. So again, we mentioned the EPR for packaging program. So we are at the little orange arrow in the middle stage. We started our rulemaking. We're finalizing the rulemaking. Now we're at the point where we need to get a stewardship organization in place. And so I just reviewed today the RFP that we've been working on with the IT folks and the purchasing folks and state government for the contract for the stewardship organization so that we can release that. I'm not sure when we're going to release it. I'm guessing maybe early in 26. And the ideal goal is to select a stewardship organization by March, April timeframe. We'll see how that plays out. This is a very dense RFP, one of the densest ones I've ever looked at and reviewed. We're asking a lot of this organization. This is a big, I hate to use the word complicated, but it is a very complicated program. And so they're gonna have a lot of work to do. They're gonna have their work cut out for them. And so that's coming. So that's really exciting. The idea is that once they're up and running, not too long after, they're going to start seeking to get the producers to pay into the system. And then hopefully within a year or so after that, the municipalities will actually have the opportunity, those who are participating, to get money to implement new infrastructure changes and whatever else is for them to benefit from the program. So that's moving forward. I wanted to talk a little bit about food waste. That was a law that was passed last session. And I want to talk a little bit about some of the details of that because we kind of have a tentative timeline for how we're going to work on this. But the big thing that I think, I'm not sure if everyone's aware of, is that the compromise that the department made to move forward with this bill it all surrounded staffing. The legislature didn't feel that they had additional funding to provide staff to implement the program. And so what we did is we determined that in and around 2028, the department was going to be winding down its PFAS oil and groundwater investigation. And so we shipped some of the staff from that program over to this program. And so we're going to have to do some reclassifications and changes in staffing, but we think that that's something that's going to be able to be done. And so our timeline is based on that shift in time with those staff. So basically, we are going to start this year in developing a survey that's going to go out to generators of greater than 2 tons per week of food waste. And in 27, we're going to focus on launching that survey and then tabulating the results from that survey. Mind you, we have one staff person who's going to be doing all that. That's why it's going to take so long. And then we have, we're going to start our education and outreach efforts in 2028. And probably in around 2028 when we're going to, hopefully by then, we'll have sorted out what the staffing shift is going to look like. We'll have the positions lined up, staff ready to go, so that they can start working on starting their new positions, understanding what the program's going to look like, and then actually start on rulemaking for that program. And then then they'll also work on, by 2030, developing a tracking system for food waste, because as you know, the ban begins in 2030. So that's our tentative plan for the food waste program. Next slide, please. I wanted to talk a little bit about grant opportunities. So this is kind of a looking back slide, but I will mention a little bit of looking forward with this one. So in the past 8 years, we've funded almost 100 projects at the department through this statutory program to provide grants. We've awarded over $1.9 million over that period of time. Last year, we awarded over $500,000, and last year, Municipal Waste have also received grants, and that's for education and outreach, is what I understand. We haven't formalized it yet, but we're looking at about $150,000 for grants next year. We're cutting back a little bit because funding is just very uncertain right now, so we don't know what that's going to look like. But we want to make sure that we still provide grants for those who need it, but it's not going to be flush as much as last year. So you'll know that. There's also possible other grant opportunities through the Maine's climate plan, the Maine Won't Wait program. And that is, if you go to the Governor's Office of Policy and Innovation in the Future, GOPIP, they do have a community grant portal. Some of those grants may not be directly related to solid waste, but they may peripherally touch on solid waste infrastructure changes and things like that. So it's worth checking out to see if there's anything that you might be able to benefit from, or your municipal members might be able to benefit from. And finally, this is the last slide. Go back, please. So there's other odds and ends I just want to review with everybody because I think it's important to understand the overall landscape going into 2026. Of course, there's the Juniper Ridge application that just came into the department. There is a lot of unknowns with that. As you know, the public benefit determination was appealed. That's still in court, and we've not been issued a decision yet by the judge. The application is in, but depending on what happens with that public benefit determination is likely to affect how the application moves forward to some degree. We anticipate that as we review the application, there's going to be a lot of public scrutiny and interest in that application process, which means public meetings, likely a public hearing, and also likely appeals. So that process is uncertain because we don't know how long it will take after when you factor all those things in. I want to talk about what's going on at Waste Management. This morning, the commissioner and my deputy bureau director and materials management division director went down to Waste Management to visit to learn more about their new systems that they put in. First is the foam fractionation system. This is online, it's operating. It's early in the stages of operation. They just finished doing the sampling to determine, what the destruction of PFAS levels were. They are meeting down to Maine's drinking water levels, which is exciting. They hope that it'll be operating more fully by the end of the year. The main regional conversion facility, that's a sludge dryer over at the waste management facility, that is slated to be operational by second quarter of 2026. They were just putting one of the sludge dryers in this morning, and that's why we wanted to go visit. And again, once it's operational in early 2026, that doesn't mean that it's going to be at full capacity. So it's going to take a while before that will be at full capacity. There are some municipalities that have signed on and contracted with Waste Management to use that service for sludge management. It remains to be seen how many other municipalities are going to go in that direction. We do anticipate there will be municipalities from out of state that will take advantage of that as well. So that's going to be an interesting discussion as that moves forward. Couple more things. DEP has a new electronic licensing system coming. This is really exciting for us. We have worked really hard over the past year to get this thing working. We anticipate that we're going to make the announcements in the early part of 2026. There's going to be communications to all of those who are going to be using this system. So anybody who has a license, municipalities who are reporting, their recycling numbers and things like that will be expected to use the system because everything's going to go through this from now on. We are really excited about this because one of the biggest issues that we have with licensing is that we get a lot of licenses that aren't really complete. And so it takes a long time to send licenses back and then have them sent back to us. There's a lot of back and forth, and this system's going to streamline that process. If the license is not complete, it's going to get booted back by the system. And until it's complete, then the department staff are not going to be spending a lot of time processing information. So that's going to help streamline our processes, and it should be also allow for more transparency for applicants as they look to find out more information about where their license is in process. And hopefully that won't happen while you're using this. So that's a really big development. And then I guess I can just finish with that looking at my slide. So I'll just keep going while you guys are fixing that. I did want to just talk a little bit about transition. This year is going to be a big transition year. We have a lot going on. We've got a new administration. So there's going to be an election in November. And so what's happening now and what seems to have been status quo for the past 5 years is going to be a little different after 2026. So everybody stay tuned for that. There's going to be a lot of politicking going on and a lot of change. New priorities on the way. I mentioned already funding uncertainties. The state budget's not in great shape. It's likely that most budget initiatives for solid waste programs is going to, end up on the appropriations table, and whether or not those programs actually get funded is unknown at this point in time. Other state agencies are also experiencing shortfalls. Federal funding is really trickling now, whereas it was just flowing like a massive river before. Now it's trickling. So we don't know which programs are going to become prioritized and what's going to happen. So there's going to be a lot of uncertainty on that front. And I think everybody probably should keep apprised of that. And then finally, new technology. There's a lot of new technologies coming forward. We talked about the sludge dryer, the foam fractionation. We put in our public benefit determination for Juniper Ridge that we expected them to put in some kind of PFAS treatment system, as part of the licensing process. And so, those are just some examples, but there are other types of new technologies. As you at Municipal Waste Hub very well know, you guys are looking at new technologies yourselves in terms of the Camden facility and other opportunities. And so it is something we're really, we want to be really supportive of. And that's one of the reasons we're focusing so hard on updating our rules, is because sometimes, when you're looking at rules that are 10 years old and statutes that, were really overhauled 20, 30 years ago, sometimes what's in statute and rule doesn't always mesh nicely with what's going on in the technology, kind of innovation environment. And so we want to be able to be supportive of new technologies that are going to benefit the environment and support, named waste hierarchy, but also that meet what's written and what we have to follow and what we have to implement. So that's something we're really trying to balance forward. And so with that, that's what we have looking forward to in 2026. Again, thanks for having me here. I'll stick around for a bit and just kind of listen to some of the other presentations. And if you want, just feel free to ask me questions after. Thank you.
Thank you, Suzanne. Anybody have any questions? Yeah. Okay, we'll move on. Bill Ferdinand. Thank you, Bill, for coming. I appreciate you being here. Bill Ferdinand, the name of your firm is Bill Ferdinand Law, I believe.
Yeah,
Ferdinand Law. There we go. That's easy to remember. And as I mentioned, he's a lobbyist that works for Waste Hub and Municipal Waste Solutions. We'll talk a little bit about what he does for us and some stuff happening in Augusta.
We did have few minutes. So on that, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay.
And Bill, you'll need to let me know when you want to.
Okay. Why don't we get Augusta? Let me go ahead to the next slide. Yeah. So, you guys have been around for a long time, been part of legislative processes for a long time. George has been here a long time. So this isn't new, but we are having, because of all the things that you guys are working on, there's much more of a presence and there's a lot more moving parts. As you could see with DEP's presentation, there's a lot of new things happening. So being in Augusta, paying attention to what's going on and participating when necessary is really becoming important. So what we do for you guys is all the bills that come through, I go through all of them. And I pull out the ones that might be of interest to you, particularly dealing with waste management. And then Mike and I will talk about them and we'll figure out what position, or you want to monitor the bill, do you want to say something about the bill? Who should we get involved? Who should we reach out to? All those types of strategic decisions for each bill that is interesting. And we put them on our list. And so we pulled out about 26 bills this past session, and I keep track of the progress and provide weekly reports to Mike. And we talk about things as they go along. We both see things and we talk about them on a regular basis. I do monitor the committee sessions. Mike does come down for specific things at specific times, which is really helpful because every time he comes down, he hears something or meets someone, talks to someone, and it winds up being worth the visit, even if it wasn't on something that you were there for the reason you were there. It's always, these committees have related issues happening at the same time. And once they know who you are, legislators come up and talk to you about all kinds of stuff. So it's really worth the time for those types of sessions when they're talking about the issues that you care about to be there. And then we help with communications. If we have to talk to specific legislators and committee, we do that together. I'm there all the time, so I'm seeing people all the time in the State House. So it's easier for me to catch people. But Mike and others can reach out. You guys have been great when the time comes, reaching out to legislators and talking to them about whatever issue we're concerned about. And actual lobbying. We did it, I would say at this point, light lobbying. We haven't had to do any heavy duty lobbying on any bills yet, push anything, but that's, we do as much as what's needed for the bill. And we've had good success. We've had, good outcomes on the bills that we've been involved with. I'm going to pause there for a second. Is there any questions about what we do in the State House? Let's go on. The next one. So a few of the key bills. At the end of the session, by the way, I do a written report on the bills that we were tracking. And I think, Mike, do you post this? Yeah, I send my update. Yeah, so yeah. So this is it's the outcome of the bills that we were tracking. So some pass, some will fail, some will get carried over to the next session. So a few of the bills that we were focused on was the food waste diversion bill. This is a forward-looking bill that is right in line with what you guys are doing. It requires generators of 2 tons or more of food waste within 20 miles of a digester, which would be you guys, hopefully. They require them to use that digester and take that food out of the landfill. And then in 2030, it goes down to 1 ton within 25 miles. So they're slowly expanding the circle. I don't know the estimates of the generators in your area that might qualify for this by 2030, but it's going to be the larger hospitals and colleges and places that generate food waste, maybe a grocery store of the Hannaford scale, something like that. So they're going to have to go to your digester by law. So I'll pause there. Any questions on that one? The EPR bill got some clarifications. The department led the conversation a lot on this. It was just some things that needed to be clarified and implemented by DEP. I don't know if Suzanne touched on that, but it wasn't anything that was out of line with the direction that they were headed. But it did help us clarify a couple of things. It gave us the opportunity to do that, and so we took advantage of that. And then grants for planning. Senator Gorhowski, who represents Hancock County, had some municipalities that wanted to do planning around collection and transportation of waste, and they wanted to make sure that they were eligible for a grant to do that. So they opened up the grant system to make sure it covers waste collection and transportation, not just transfer stations and disposal and things like that. So that's something that your communities will be able to use too. It's not just limited to them. So it just broadens the scope of those grants. Next slide. Okay. Coming up next time, we have a few bills that were carried over. E-cig stewardship, seems there were a couple of bills on that. Battery stewardship. Both of these programs are trying to get the producers of those products to have systems to take them out of the landfill waste stream and deal with them otherwise. And so I think there's going to be some more discussion on that. Those bills need to be heard in January because they're carryover bills. We've had 86 new bills, over 100 new bills printed for next session. They go a variety of topics, but one that is going to come to this, the Natural Resources Committee, is going to be Juniper Ridge expansion. There's a bill that would prevent them from going into wetland. So landfill expansion is going to go into wetlands. So I think that topic is still on the table. There's going to be more discussion about that. The community is still focused on it. There's a group that's very focused on it. So we'll continue on that. Next. Bills that fail. So not everything makes it to the legislature. Out of the 2,000 bills, usually about 600 get passed. So most of them don't. 400 of the bills were carried over to this next session, which is called the short session. But there were some discussions around the Juniper Ridge landfill contract that the department, not the DEP, but the Bureau of General Services, as the operator or owner of the landfill, dealt with. Bottle bill expansion, there were some proposals to get other types of bottles into the bottle bill, but that was rejected. And then there was a bill, actually this next bill was in the Utilities Committee, trying to have a specific procurement of energy, electric energy from waste energy facilities. It was driven by the EPIC facility in Orrington. That didn't go forward. And then there was a bill to ban the use of single-use plastic containers like you see for shampoo and conditioner in laundry facilities. But there seems to be a wave of those going away in the marketplace without a mandate because they're using those ones like dispensers that go on the wall a little bit more. So that bill did not go forward. So I think that's it. Is that it for slides? Yeah. Okay. So if you have any questions, I'm around, Mike's around, we talk all the time, and we'll see you in the next session.
So I think one quick question about the battery solution. Is that targeted all batteries or is that just the ones that cause those fires?
I don't think it was necessarily fire oriented, but I think that has a driving force to it, but I don't know, Suzanne, what'd you say?
It, can you hear me? Yeah, it's all batteries. There's the current battery stewardship program we have still updated, so it needs some updates. We're also looking at, you know, the fires are definitely part of it. There's definitely concern about that, but we're also looking at the batteries. So there's a lot of products that I don't know that we're necessarily gonna be able to tackle that issue in this coming session, but I really want to talk about it.
All of the above.
Thank you, Bill.
Yeah.
All right, we're moving on now to take care of the little board business. And first up is a report on our elections that we held. We hold annually for the we hold elections annually for our board of directors, and each year we have 9 members on the board of directors, and we're elected at large, and each year 3 of the seats are up. So in the October timeframe, we solicit nominations from our member communities, and we develop a slate, and then a ballot goes out to each of our members in November, and they submit those, and we tabulate the results. And so if you move to the next slide, I'll give you the results. Great big drum roll. We have Kelly Penny Mishu, who's the town manager of Oakland, new to the board. Oh, you're here. Oh, Kelly, nice to meet you. Congratulations. Well, welcome. We have Tony Smith, who is currently on the board and been reelected to another 3-year term from Mount Desert. And we have Bell Ryder, who's also currently on the board as a resident of town of Oradell, reelected to the board. So congratulations to you all. I will say that this year was yet another unusual year for the board in that we actually had 4 open seats. And we did go into the election, or then I should say, we did go into the ballot process, or the slate process with 4 candidates, but one of those candidates was Bob Butler. And so he had to pull from the ballot. So we ended up with only 3 names on the ballot for the 4 slots. And so all of these folks have been elected to 3-year terms. That does leave the board still one board member short. And I expect that the board will be taking that up in January. And then we also have the issue of our former president, Aaron Hootery, who is still currently a board member. He does have a residence in Bangor, but he has taken on the role as town manager of Port Fairfield and is looking very much to moving there permanently at some point in the probably not too distant future. So we anticipate another vacancy coming due. So if you're interested in solid waste, all of the folks here hopefully are. We're looking for folks that would be interested in participating. So feel free to reach out, talk with any member on the board or Mike Carroll if you'd like to be considered. But so because the next round the board would be appointing to fill the open seats, and then come next year, those seats would go back up in the election cycle or things like that. So long story short, we have welcome Kelly to the new board. You'll be seated formally in January. But that's that for the election. So now I'll hand it off to Belle, our treasurer, who to go over our finances and the proposed budget for 2026.
Thank you very much, Karen. My name is Belle Ryder. I'm the treasurer on the Waste Hub Board of Directors. This is my 2nd year, so I'm practiced at this, I guess. I'm also the executive director of the Bangor Area Comprehensive Transportation System and a resident of the town board. I am very pleased to present Waste Hub's current financial position with you today. We'll go over the cash and fund balances, and I'll also provide a high-level overview of our proposed FY26 budget, which we will present to the board for approval in January. For those who have been following our financial journey over the past 5 years, that the story we're presenting today is remarkably different from what we reported between 2020 and 2023. So I am pleased to once again present a balanced budget that has no reserve funding. So cash balances as of December 1st. First is our operating account, $323,448. This is our day-to-day operations account where all operating budget revenue is did and all expenses flow from. This funds our daily activities. Next, we have our contingency account. This is where we parked the funds we received from our 90% share of the municipal waste solutions sale to Innovative Resource Recovery, along with some additional revenues. Moving forward, we will only retain a small balance in this account. The vast majority of these funds will be invested into our waste hub management investment portfolio. Next, we have our distribution and development account. We use this account to receive grant funds and expend from there, as well as some surplus revenue when it's available. These funds support project development and outreach and education initiatives that are outside our normal budget areas. And finally, we have our Androscoggin Reserve account. This was established as a reserve holding account while we restructured fund allocation from the sale and partnership of Municipal Waste Solutions. The majority of this fund will also be invested into the Waste Hub Management Investment Portfolio in FY26. In our investment fund, we currently have $1,080,045. This represents our current position in the Waste Hub investment portfolio. We'll be adding approximately $1.5 million to this portfolio at the start of next year. And I should be clear that it's coming from the cash accounts that you see. It's not magically appearing. One piece of information that's important for our members to take note of, the 2026 member tip fee CPI adjustment will take effect January 1st, 2026. The final rate will be posted by the Department of Labor's Bureau of Labor Statistics on December 18th. And members will see the new 2026 tip rate advertised on their weekly disposal invoices for the remaining 3 weeks of December, giving everyone ample time to prepare and communicate the increase within their department. Next slide, please. So this is our proposed budgets going forward to FY26. I always like to start with the revenue because we like to see what money's coming in before we talk about what's going out. The key revenue streams here, the municipal dues, no increase is expected at this time, so revenue remains the same. We haven't had a dues increase in just over 5 years. That's probably something that we'll need to consider an adjustment in the future, but at this time it's not necessary. Annual lease payments, these also remain the same because these are the monthly property lease payments from Municipal Waste Solutions to Waste Hub. Distribution and development, $60,000. These funds were transferred from excess operating revenue in 2024 with the intention of adding additional staff to perform community outreach and education, which we plan to implement in the second quarter of 2026. Legislative advocacy reimbursement. This is a shared cost with MWS. We just heard from Bill regarding this. This revenue represents the portion that MWS supports. The MRC management service fee. This is what is paid to Waste Hub by MWS for managing all waste flow logistics, acting as liaison with MWS and regulatory authorities. And the additional revenue for 2026 includes the management fees from the JCO site. For those in the audience who are not familiar with the JCO site, I'm certain that you will hear more about it when Mike does his update. The MWS utilities reimbursement. This is another pass-through of revenue from MWS. Utilities at MWS are in Waste Hub's name, so we pay them but collect reimbursement from MWS. Utilities continue to increase as we start up more processes at MWS, so this revenue increases, but the offsetting expense also continues to increase. The interest, this is representing interest earned from the operating account only. the investment account separately. And then the miscellaneous income, this can include minimal insurance rebates or grant funds. The $33,000 increase comes from a DEP grant Waste Hub received for education and community outreach. We actually received some of that funding in 2025, which is why it's not the full amount that Suzanne mentioned. So revenue continues to look strong for 2026. The $170,000 increase is largely comprised of pass-through expenses with previous excess revenue being allocated back to operations for additional staff and awarded grant. Next slide, please. So this is our proposed expenses. We'll talk about just a few of these items here. The primary increase here is going to be in the administration line. This is where most of our operating expenses occur. Increase is primarily due to adding staff benefits along with additional Office of Communication equipment and the tools needed for that staff. We've also increased Waste Hub travel expenses due to planned education and outreach activities. The contingency fund, historically, this always starts at a higher dollar amount and then we adjust in Q3 as needed. For instance, at the start of 2025, we began with a contingency expense of $40,000, which was adjusted as expenses were needed in other buckets. So we are proposing that we increase that a bit this year. And then this is the primary review for FY26. More details will come in the January meeting when we present the full budget to the board. Once again, we try to control spending. We are avoiding pulling from any reserves to pay expenses, and we still contribute another payment to the Wealth Management Investment Fund. This will mark the third consecutive year we've distributed funds back into the investment accounts. Next slide. So in conclusion, our 2025 operations budget was a great success. No additional funding from cash reserves was needed for the fiscal year 25 operating budget. While some expenses increased, we successfully reduced others, allowing the budget to reconcile with a greater payback allocation to our wealth management investment accounts. We have been working with First National Wealth Management, our investment firm advisor, to develop investment strategies and portfolios for our current cash reserves, focusing on stronger long-term reserve availability. And I think that we can easily say that we have achieved excellence across all metrics. I want to express my appreciation to this board for your continued guidance and support. The financial health of Waste Hub reflects not only sound fiscal management, but also the strategic decisions you have made throughout this year and years prior. Our performance demonstrates operational excellence across all metrics. We have navigated unexpected challenges such as the JCO acquisition while continuing to maintain fiscal discipline. The ability to strengthen our wealth management position beyond our original projection, fund our scholarship program without drawing on reserves, and complete the fiscal year without touching reserve funds represents a significant achievement. The transition to audit review services, which will be discussed in more detail in the next presentation by George, the development of our enhanced investment strategy, and our consistent operational cash flow all position Waste Hub strongly as we move into the new year. And as your treasurer, I remain confident in our ability to continue in excellent financial condition for FY26. If there are any questions, I'm happy to take them.
Thank you, Mel. I would personally just like to say I'm very excited to hear about the addition of an additional staff person to focus on outreach and education for our members. That's something that we've long talked about, and I think it's going to be wonderful, especially at the same time as extended producer responsibilities coming online
And I'm expecting there'll be lots of questions about how communities can benefit from that and municipal waste hub's role in facilitating that for members. And I know as the plant comes online, that we're hearing a lot more from Innovative about, there'll be lots of questions out in the community about what does this plant do? How is it recycling our waste? What kind of products are being recycled, and those kinds of things. I think it'll be very important for us to be able to get out and help explain that to the folks and realize, and show them what value is that the plant is bringing to this region. So very excited.
I also think that it's really important that we add additional staff because while Mike is Superman apparently, he's be able to do everything and be everywhere he wants. You know, this will broaden our reach and perhaps take some of that off of his shoulders. So appreciate the great work that Mike and Barbara do right now, but I'm looking forward to adding a third leg to our stool. Thank you.
All right, George.
Thank you very much. I'm George Aronson, Commonwealth Resource Management Corporation. I've been, I guess, as Bill said, I've been coming up here since 1990, actually since 1998 to work with first the CAP and the MRC and now Waste Hub. So I have a historical perspective that comes in handy from time to time. I just wanted to make a quick distinction. The general fund and the Waste Hub administration is what Bill just went over in some detail. And traditionally, we've looked at two sets of activities, the general fund and the fiduciary fund. The fiduciary fund is what the Waste Hub does on behalf of its members. So it goes to accounts that are not the operating account, but the investment accounts, the ownership in opportunities, etc. So that's the distinction. And I'll be talking about the latter, the fiduciary fund. In all my years working with Waste Hub and its predecessors, transparency has always been of the utmost importance. And it's very important, especially when the MRC is asked, they did it. When the Waste Hub is acting as a fiduciary or making decisions on behalf of its member communities, it's very important that member communities have the opportunity to understand what is going on, what the positions are, what decisions are made, and how they might respond or be involved. And I think that's been the practice and part of the culture going all the way back. And especially now, there have been a lot of changes over the years. And since 2023, certainly with first the creation of MWH LLC and the sale of 90% of it to Innovative as a partner, and then going through these last few years, a lot of different ways to look at the split between the general fund and fiduciary fund and how they're handled. So it's important that we do what we can to keep things transparent and open. So I think, you know, I don't feel the need to read every word on the slide, but clearly there have been differences now that MWH LLC has responsibilities for managing waste, and the Waste Hub has a different role, which is as the management advisor and providing management services to MWH LLC, and also as the owner of the site in Hampton. And so that's reflected in the financial activity going forward. So let's look at the next slide and look at what the reports from outsiders have shown. Just in recent years, with the transition from time to time, the reviews and audits have been delayed somewhat. We're caught up. And that's the first point of the first bullet. The 22 audit was accepted in October 24. The 23 audit was accepted in January 25, and the 24 audit is now performed. The draft is completed. That'll be voted on by the board, presented to the board for acceptance at the January board meeting, but we'll present the results in draft form at this meeting very briefly. Anybody who has questions, have a draft report, and I'm always here afterwards for specific inquiries in more detail than I'll get now. I think the review was conducted by the outside CPA forum, but Donald couldn't make it, so here I am presenting it on his behalf. Disclosure, I'm not an accountant, not a CPA, but I've been looking at these things for over 25 years on behalf of Waste Hub and its predecessors, so I have some insight into what we're trying to do and how we try to be transparent when we do this. One of the big changes this year is the change from an audit to a review. Some of you who are more familiar with these matters may know that in past years, the AICPA, which sets the standards for reviews, that the standards for audits has raised the bar in terms of what needs to be required for both of them. In many cases, it was already a question whether the extra expense of an audit, which involves a lot of external confirmations, is actually worthwhile given the level of standard of the review. And we've seen more and more public authorities and municipalities and regional authorities and nonprofits moving from the audit to the review because it provides the necessary assurances without the additional expense of the confirmations that are set aside for the audit. And the difference, I've said for some of the differences, the scope of review meets AICPA requirements. So there's still an external body telling the reviewer what needs to be done and to what standard it needs to be acceptable, but it doesn't include independent confirmations to express opinion. So there's not a opinion from the auditor. What we have is a finding from the reviewer. Okay, we'll talk about that in more detail, as much detail as you want during the reception. But I just wanted to give it the high level sense of what this change means. It's not extraordinary. In fact, we're seeing it quite common among organizations like Waste Hub, because you get the meaningful review, independent review at a high level of detail by an outside organization that provides comfort, just that the findings are a little different than an opinion, which typically is associated with or is required in the cases of leveraged organizations or organizations that have undergone new financing. The good news is Waste Hub doesn't have any debt. And so they're not at the position of a leveraged organization. They are an equity owner, MWH LLC. And so it is appropriate to do a fine level of review, and especially to have an independent entity that can look at MWH LLC as well as Waste Hub and make, and provide assurances that what is being accounted for is consistent with generally accepted accounting practices. And that's the finding we'll get. They're not aware of material modifications that are needed to be consistent with GAAP, which is what we call it. And the entries reflect the change in responsibilities. And when you go from the start of 2023, when what was then the MRC owned all of what was then the assets of MWH LLC, to a situation now where Waste Hub is in a partnership, there are changes. It takes a while to make sure the accounting entries are right and the accountants are comfortable with them. There are some adjustment entries that we go through, and we've done that. Next slide, please. Okay, so that's, again, more at the reception, that's really the thing. Just to give you a quick review of where Waste Hub is compared to 24-23, I've just done the balance sheet, and you see the cash and investments. This only includes, this does not include the operating account. So the numbers that Bell showed further on the other accounts are included, but not the operating account. There's a contingent sale payment receivable, which is a number that upon commercial operation or is part of the, and it's a formula, but that number is shown as was reviewed by the reviewer. The investment in site, which the reviewer likes calling the site financing agreement receivable, but it's basically the value of the site as the reviewer has advised should be kept on Waste Hub's books. That's the $5 million. In 2023, there was still back and forth in terms of cleaning up certain receivables and payables. That's been done. And it's all boiled down at this point to one number, which is equity and MWH LLC. Because Innovative is a private company, the reviewer can make arrangements to review what their auditor is producing and then make sure that it's represented properly on the Waste Hub balance sheet. The good news is that the net position has improved. And if you look at the number, there are really a couple of sources. Some of it is transfers from the operating fund to the funds that are now in the investment funds, which is the other direction from where it was a few years ago. It's all positive information. And some of it, I don't have this number on the slide, but the MRCs, that's price, love the nickel again, The Waste Hub's investments earned about $105,000 last year on about 2.7 million in investments. So it's, about 4% overall improvement, which is a pretty decent number, given that Waste Hub is a conservative organization with a conservative set of safe investments, looking at fixed income and not involved in equities, for example. So that's the quick overview of what the review has presented and found. Happy to take questions now or afterwards at the reception.
Anybody have any questions for George? I don't think so. All right, thank you. Right.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you all for being here. 2025 has been absolutely transformational for our organization, and I'm excited to share these incredible developments with you. This year, we officially rebranded as Municipal Waste Hub to better reflect and expand, to better reflect our mission and the comprehensive services that we now provide. Our Hamden facility has reopened as a transfer station, and we started to launch failing operations for recyclable materials such as cardboard. We're on track for full material recovery known as MRF commercial operations in early 2026. But here's what I'm most proud of. Everything you're hearing today came directly from you, our member communities. We visited every member community, conducted surveys, held focused discussion groups, and listened carefully. You told us you wanted improved transportation solutions, more accessible collection points, increased recycling opportunities, in economical ways to handle diverse waste streams. We listened and we executed. The developments shared today are a direct result of your input and our commitment to meeting your needs. Next slide. Let me tell you about something truly exciting that's going on that will revolutionize waste in Maine, our hub and spoke model. We've identified and partnered with strategically located member transfer stations throughout our service area that will serve as regional spokes, all connected to the central hub at the Hamden facility, all operating under the Municipal Waste Solutions banner. This infrastructure allows us to offer a much wider range of services for virtually all types of waste and recyclables. We're talking recyclables, construction and demolition, waste, bulky items, tires, you name it. It's a truly comprehensive waste management solution. And here's the game changer. Our partner, Innovative Resource Recovery, added a dedicated transportation division to the Hamden operation. This means optimized truckloads, efficient logistics, and significantly reduced transportation costs for our members and communities. Beyond the operational advantages, we've created a real environmental impact. The hub and spoke transportation solution reduces our collective carbon footprint through optimized routing and full capacity loads. It's efficient, economical, and environmentally responsible. Our major milestone. Now let me share another development of 2025, the Jayco acquisition. We successfully acquired the former Androscoggin Mill Construction and Demolition Disposal Site in Jay at absolutely zero cost to our organization. Board member and former Waste Hub President Bob Butler signed a membership interest purchase agreement on June 13th, and the permit transfer process with Maine DEP concluded when Commissioner Loisem signed the permit transfer order in September. This represents far more than just a construction and demolition disposal site. Jayco will become a spoke in our network, positioning us to strategically collect a collection point connecting communities across Maine to our Hamden hub. The property includes an existing wastewater treatment facility, which opens up existing possibilities for Waste Hub members and expanded services. Here's what makes this even better. The site came complete with necessary closure funds for proper maintenance and is not going to accept out-of-state material. Our experienced partner handles day-to-day operations and liabilities, ensuring professional management. We presented it to the J community in June, and the reception was overwhelmingly positive. No pushback, just general interest. We've even received positive coverage in the local newspaper, the Sun Journal. This acquisition positions us to serve both current members and future partners throughout Maine like never before. Build and relate. Throughout 2025, we strengthened critical relationships and gained recognition that positions Municipal Waste Hub as a leader in Maine's waste management industry. We've hosted extensive facility tours for DEP leadership in the state of Maine's Community of Environmental Natural Resources, ENR. The ENR event brought over 35 attendees, including 7 of the 13 committee chairs and local media coverage. DEP representatives emphasized during their tour the critical importance of our facility to service this region. We also achieved significant milestone with industry recognition. Waste 360, one of the premier waste management publications serving over 90,000 professionals worldwide, featured Municipal Waste Hub in an article. They interviewed me and board members and our partners. Having a featured article in a publication of this caliber significantly enhances our visibility and credibility across the entire industry. We secured $50,000 in funding from Maine DEP's Waste Diversion Grants program to support our education and outreach incentives. And we're building meaningful partnerships with potential stewards for the Maine's EPR program who toured the facility and expressed genuine enthusiasm about Municipal Waste Hub becoming a potential subcontractor if awarded. At the Maine Municipal Association Conference, MMA, we were a sponsor. I even had a chance to speak with Governor Mills about our progress. These relationships and partnerships give us a strong foundation to set us up well for the future. We've never lost sight of what matters most, serving our communities and fostering the next generation of environmental leaders. Throughout 2025, we conducted over 100 facility tours and community meetings from Bangor to Waterville, Bar Harbor to Jed. We've engaged with city officials, University of Maine students, climate action committees, and countless community members. We've donated brand new gloves for Earth Day cleanups in Bangor, Millinocket, Hamden, Dexter, and China. Our scholarship program offers up to $10,000 in scholarships. This investment in our future workforce demonstrates our commitment to long-term sustainability and community development. Also, we look ahead. Municipal Waste Hub is positioned stronger than ever. We've expanded our infrastructure, deepened our regulatory relationships, and demonstrated our value to current and prospective members. Our enhanced operational capacity combined with growing recognition among policymakers and municipal leaders position us to become the region's most comprehensive waste management infrastructure provider. We have also launched Scotty this year, our video series character who shares waste tips and important updates across social media platforms. Early feedback on Scotty has been fantastic, and this represents an innovative step forward in community engagement and education.
Municipal Waste Hub wants to more than just casual events. But what does Waste Hub mean? It means we enable your town to be Maine's 50% recycling goal. The plant we use takes your waste in, sorted or unsorted, and extracts recyclable products. Regardless of where you place your trash, the right thing will be done with it. It'll be to separate it all. It's metal, plastics, glass, paper, and cardboard. Anaerobic digestion turns organic waste into natural gas. This is how Waste Hub and its over 100 member towns and cities in Maine meets the state's 50% recycling. Municipal Waste Hub. Reduce, reuse, recycle.
Before I close, I want to thank some folks. First, Innovative Resource Recovery, our partner and the majority owner and operator of Municipal Waste Solutions. They work behind the scenes and don't receive much recognition, but without their team, infrastructure, and financial capabilities, we never could have restarted the facility, added a transportation division, completed our acquisitions, or established hub and spoke operations. The board and I are truly grateful for your matching our $5,000 scholarship fund and your dedication to this project. Thank you, Innovative.
Municipal waste, please.
I also want to thank Waste Management in Norwalk. Without concessions they made for our organization while we were idle, this public-private partnership with Innovative may have never happened. Thank you to Casella Waste for all the hoops and logistics they've navigated on short notice as we were doing ramp up as we requested waste to come to the facility. Thank you to the host communities, Hamden and Jay. Thank you to the regulatory authorities we work with at DAP, at DEP, and Bangor Water District, Wastewater District. And most importantly, thank you to the staff at Municipal Waste Solutions. Handling garbage isn't the most rewarding job in the world, so we're especially grateful for their hard work and dedication to making the facility successful. To summarize, we've rebranded Municipal Waste Hub. We've reopened the Hamden facility and are working towards full operations. We're implementing an innovative hub and spoke model with dedicated transportation solutions. We've acquired JCO at zero cost. We've built strong relationships with regulatory and industry leaders, and we're developing comprehensive public outreach and education materials. These developments position Municipal Waste Hub to serve you better than ever, with greater efficiency, expanded service, and continued commitment to environmental responsibility. Thank you.
Municipal waste.
Thank you, Mike. That was great. And I want to echo your thanks to our partners, the folks that you mentioned, the board as well, feels the same as Mike expressed about all the folks that have made the success we've had so far possible. But I also want to put right back on you, thanks to you and all of your hard work. I never know how you do it because you get so much more done than seems humanly possible. As Belle said, I guess you're Superman. So, but really, thank you so much for your dedication and your perseverance and just continuing to just go at 110 miles an hour all the time. It's fantastic. And I just, I love your enthusiasm for thinking about new ways that we can serve our members and improve waste flow in the region and in the state as a whole. I mean, just, you think big. It's great. All right. Next up, we have Edgar Palacios from Innovative Resource Recovery. This is what we've all been waiting for. We want to hear about the plan. Edgar.
Thank you all for the opportunity to talk and to provide you an update on where we are and the accomplishments for this year, and more important, where we're going in 2026. So just to provide an update, 2025 has been a year of preparation for us in terms of technical and operational preparation for next year for the opening of the facility. Right now, we are operating as a transfer station. We are processing around 300 tons of material a day. And I'm representing a whole team of people that work really hard in the background, like Mike was saying, every day to deliver on the promise of the facility. We now are fully staffed as a transfer station. We have equipment, we have operators, and we have a new team of people, including me, that are here to provide our expertise and our experience to make sure that this project is successful in the future. We also we're making some upgrades to the equipment of the facility to enhance our capacity to recycle and divert material. There's lots of activity happening right now. We have removed some of the old equipment. We are bringing the new equipment in now. The installation is in process right now. So we are making progress, as we said before. Our our plan is to start in Q1 26. With the commission of the facility, there's been a significant investment in terms of the changes that we're making to the process and the equipment. We believe and based on our experience, these changes are going to definitely enhance our ability to process material and to recycle more. And we, like Mike was saying, we have commissioned the baler now and we're processing cardboard at the facility. So we are in the process of completing that part of the operation. In terms of logistics, Mike mentioned as well, we have 7 tractors and a fleet of tractors and trailers. And we use the material across the different facilities that we deliver the volume. And we are looking for new opportunities to develop new routes and enhance our capacity to serve the communities in the next slide, please. So where are we going in 2026? And this is the exciting part. We start the facility in March 2026. We're in the process of hiring personnel. One of the things that is most exciting about what we're doing is we want people from the communities that we serve to work with us and come and work at the facility. We also have the AD development project that's going to happen at the end of 26. We also expanding the ability to divert. We're looking to different partners, new technologies to be able to use or reuse some of the materials that we capture in the waste stream. Part of the desire and the action of opening the transfer station was to make sure that we understood the material that was coming to the facility, but also laying the foundation to start safely and reliable for 2026 when we reopen. And Mike mentioned the hub and spoke strategy. We continue to develop new partnerships and explore new opportunities to be able to enhance our ability to move the volume in the state of. We are grateful for the opportunity. We are grateful for the opportunity and we look forward to opening the facility in 2026. Again, it's a whole team of people that are working at the site right now, and they're going to be working in the near future to deliver on the promise of a wonderful site. I'm very excited to be here. It's a wonderful state and really good people to be here to serve. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any questions? I'll be happy to answer at the end.
And just for clarification purposes for folks in our audience, MRF is a materials recovery facility and AD refers to anaerobic digestion. And the way the plant is structured is that we have what we refer to as like the front end and the back end. So when he refers to the MRF commissioning that's going to happen in Q1 next year, that's the front end materials recovery facility that takes the MSW, the municipal solid waste, and pulls it apart and pulls out the recyclable items like your aluminum and your plastics and your cardboard and things like that. And then it moves along this automated, they use optical sorters and all sorts of things. Oh, there we go. Right. It pulls out the recycled product. But then in the back end, the residuals go through, and that's where the organic matter is processed through anaerobic digestion into renewable natural gas. Now that's what he referred to as being, they're going to start working on that development of that back end process towards the end of next year after they get the MRF up and running. So they're very thoughtful about a little slower than we would like, but they're very thoughtful and very thorough about their process of getting stuff and running, which we appreciate because we know it's going to be sustainable in the long run.
So in Edgar's defense, he had to sit in here and go over those slides with like 2 hours notice. And so you did a great job, Edgar.
Thank you. Yeah, we're excited. It's a great opportunity. The facility is wonderful. The enhancements and the changes that we're making are really designed to improve on. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, and I think last up we have Jeff Matthew from Design Labs going to talk a little bit about rebranding and our education and outreach efforts and ways for communicating with folks.
I have 6 minutes, so I'll make it quick. I don't want to keep anyone from dinner. So actually, okay, you can go to the next one. So I've been working with Superman and Municipal Waste Hub for about a year and a half. And this past year, as you can tell, has been really a flurry of activity. I think the centerpiece to what we've done is the rebrand, which included renaming the organization. So it's more than just, a new name and a new logo. It's really making sure that the brand is represented in all the public touch points in a specific way. So colors, brand voice, the visuals all have to be aligned with the board's. And so ongoing, we've continued to manage the website. Right now, it's still the old website, but that's going to change soon. I'll talk about that in a few moments. We've managed social media, newsletters, press communication. We do quarterly newsletters, and that goes out to members and the general public. We've produced all the graphic design pieces that have been associated with the rebrand, along with this slide deck, for example, any graphics for advertising to show, as well as any graphic design that might be throughout the year. We do a couple constant contacts a month, and then we offer communication support as well. So these are a few examples of things that we've done in the past year. Scotty's Science Friday is part of the social media series. We've tried to integrate Scotty in a few different ways. I think there's a lot of technical aspects to recycling, and so we do with our Science Friday series. We take scientific tidbits, and make them digestible to the public and kind of simplify everything. We also do some general outreach. We've done these designs. This poster goes in transfer stations, and it's really about educating households and individuals about what they can put in their trash. And then the ad on the far right is an ad we did for the municipal the annual conference. What was the name of that? MMA. Yep, the MMA conference. And so that was an ad. We were one of the sponsors, so we did an ad in the magazine. And we really try to focus in any advertising on benefits of membership. Next slide. This is another little project we did. These are posters that appear at transfer stations to build brand recognition and get people excited about being a part of this network. Next slide. This is a trade show booth that we did. Mike's used it a few times. I was happy to be able to join Mike at the MMA conference, and it really gave me a unique insight about some of the questions that people ask. And it was interesting too to kind of get a read on how the rebrand was going, because it was funny, people would come up to the booth and they may not recognize this, but they recognize Mike, and so you could see them putting it together. But we still have some work to do. I mean, it was MRC for a long time, so we're getting there. Next slide. So moving forward, as we think about 2026, the DEP Waste Diversion Grant Outreach project is really the centerpiece of a lot of the communication that we'll be doing. Mike had $50,000 in his presentation. There was a $12,500 match. That was the difference there between the 30s, because maybe you were like, what's 50 grand? So yeah, there's a $12,500 match that the organizations need to make that $50,000. The campaign theme is recycling made simple, and we really want to educate communities about MWS's recycling and the MRF process, and want to educate people about the state's 50% recycling, things that we're doing to get us there. There's a lot of simplification that has to happen. So a big part of our communication message is, trying to simplify these complex processes. That's where Scotty comes in handy, and that cute little video. It really boils things down to small bites so that folks can understand conceptually what's happening. And we expect this to be about its next.
So quickly, the objectives, we want to raise awareness of what's going on in Hamden. Our facility, anaerobic digestion isn't exactly easy to describe, but we're going to do our best. We want to really highlight the environmental, economic, and community benefits. Really, that's what interests people, right? And we want to offer guidance for residents in town. And this is a service that we can provide for. And we want to position the organization and MWS as a trusted, forward-thinking partner. Next. So we have several audiences here. We want to, of course, target municipal leaders, but we also want to target community residents, households, businesses, schools and students. I think is a tremendous opportunity for us. I have a 7th grader, and this year she did, right before Thanksgiving, her science teacher did a whole section on food waste. And as I was helping her with her homework, she definitely thought it was weird because I was very interested in the materials that the teacher was sharing. But wouldn't it be great to have some local resources for the teacher to share with students here in our communities to make it real for them? We want to communicate with environmental and civic groups, as well as policymakers, media, of course, the regulators. We developed some key messages. Karen, thank you very much. She was a big part of rounding out the message raft. So energy in every bag, then it will do the rest. We really want to drive home that you don't have to overthink your trash, that you can just throw it in a bin, do the right thing with it. Next slide. I won't read through all of these, but we have a lot of messages we want to get out there. Obviously, the big one is recycling made simple, but these are all messages that we want to make sure when people leave our materials that they have these things in mind. Next. We're going to do this, obviously the new staff person is going to be very helpful with this outreach, but we'll also, we at Design Lab will provide posters and cards, retractable banners, all the visuals that you would need when doing a presentation, brochures, newsletter content that, sort of plug and play content for municipalities to share with their outreach efforts, a web portal, social media posts, media placements, talking points, video, and radio ads. It's a pretty big lift, but it's going to be really fun. Next. So we have this is the mobile version of the new website, and you can press play if you like. This is just scrolling down. This is what folks will see on their phone. We will have a grant education portal that will include much of the educational materials that we develop. And this is a pretty big departure from the last website. This website is focused on the services we offer, which support the concept of hub and spoke. It focuses on community resources and education. And so that'll launch in the next, we're hoping to get it launched before the end of the year. So making good progress on that. Yeah. I won't go through this whole thing, but generally, this is the website map, numbers, about us, services, education, contact. And you'll notice under the education branch, we have scholarship information, resources that will be developed as part of this EEP grant. Folks will be able to schedule a tour, and then recycling made simple it will be a lot of visuals to describe the process. So folks can go there and see the process and hopefully understand it better. Next. And we also are, I'll let this play. This is an example of a video that we produced for Versing Power. It's a mini doc of a potato processing facility. But as you watch this, it's only 30 seconds. I want you to visualize the trash going down, trash being delivered, weighed, going down the belts. It's very analogous to what we can do for municipal waste solutions. And that storytelling is a powerful tool in the tool belt. There's a wonderful study by Princeton that showed that facts are remembered. You're 22 more times likely to remember a fact if it's part of a story. So we want to tell this story, and it'll make it real for people. So go ahead.
It's all over the United States. Not just putting that plain potato in a bag. There's a lot to it. Got a lot of machinery running, so we use quite a bit of power. Definitely rely on it. business like this, local, helping the farmers, buy their product and making something out of it, take a lot of pride in that for sure. We didn't have a reliable power from person come to the plant, then, we wouldn't run, right?
So just 30 seconds, but it's a powerful example of benefits to the community, the process, the mechanics and how it works. I won't go through all this. This is just a video storyboard. But I'll close by saying it's been a real honor to work with Mike and the team. This is really important work. I mean, it touches on human health, healthy communities, the environment, economics. So thank you so much for this opportunity. Half look forward to it. Thank you.
Well, that concludes our remarks. Thank you, everybody who provided information today. I would like to open it up to see if there's anybody in the audience that has any questions or comments that they would like to share or ask. Nobody. Okay, everybody's anxious to get to the food and drink. Are there any board members that would like to make any comments, pithy statements, reflections on Aaron?
Yeah, if I can, as you alluded to. As you alluded to, I have accepted a position in Northern Maine. I still have the house here in Bangor. I anticipate it being sold by the year or very, very soon after. We do have a house in Fort Fairfield now, so I will be resigning my seat by the end of the year. And that's difficult for me. I have all kinds of comments here, but the time is not appropriate for me to get into all this. It's just, this has been an incredible journey. The board members, the education that I've received from board members has been incredible. Trying to find partners and then finally partnering with innovative is, that really changed the trajectory of our efforts and, really put us on the right path, I believe. And it was due to the efforts of all of us sitting there going through contracts and negotiations and doing that hard work while there were plenty of people willing to criticize us and belittle our efforts. Just very happy to have been able to serve on this board with all of you and to serve the 115 member communities and 200,000 residents that Municipal Waste Hub serves. I am happy to say that I won't be getting out of the waste management field. I have secured a seat on the AWS board, which is Aristic Waste Solutions, managing waste for Aristic County. So I will be watching what Municipal Waste Hub does and seeing if there's an opportunity to emulate that success in Aristic County as well. So thank you very much for the opportunity to serve with all of you.
Yeah, thank you too, Aaron, and we'll sad to see you go, but we appreciate your service and the leadership that you provided in your years as president, helping the organization navigate the challenges that we were facing and get us to where we are now. So we really appreciate that.
I had a whole section on my appreciation for Mike's efforts and guidance as well, but everybody said enough. I don't want to say exception afterwards.
Like you folks have heard us brag up Mike Superman, but Aaron said, part of what Aaron said was trying to find partners. During that tour, it seemed like forever, trying to find partners. Mike would be out. We had a lot of meetings. Mike would come in, be a lot of long faces sitting at the table. And when we did run up against a brick wall, he always, before the meeting was over, had a positive way to move forward, another option to look for, and put his energies in it. I'm originally from New Brunswick. Mike is from Maine, but he spent time in New Brunswick, and I think that might be where he got some of this. But I appreciate Mike, and Mike, at some point I'll stop writing you up, but it'll be a while.
All right.
So you can see we have some upcoming meetings. We meet quarterly. Our regular meetings are quarterly. They're in person. I believe we're still having them at the Hampton Town offices. Thank you very much, Hampton, the post community, and Paul on the board. But they're open to the public, and we do live stream them. So you're welcome to participate remotely as well. But we encourage participation. We love questions. We'd love to have you take a tour if you haven't already. And of course, there'll be lots happening in 2026. Difference. So come again. And with that, I think we will wrap it up if nobody in the audience has thought of anything, any questions. But thank you all so much for coming, and thank you for your interest in the facility and the organization and the solid waste in Maine. And please join us next door for some drinks.
Yeah. It's